Alright guys, welcome back to the latest episode of Lance's Plants. Today I'm here to repot this African milk tree. It's my wife's plant. She really wants it in something new. Right now it's being supported by these rocks because the soil is very poor. It's basically just mulch. So we're going to pull this guy out, check out the roots on it, really just get it going again. I'll tell you the problem with this. So you can see that it's got a serious reverse taper, meaning it's skinny down here but it gets fat up here. So we're going to repot this just like we do any other cactus, except for we're going to bury it to probably about here to have a good strong base, and hopefully this just sprouts out roots. So I brought you a bit closer so you can see what we're working with. It's a really shallow pot to begin with, and I've only got it filled about halfway. So first things first, I'm going to pluck this crabgrass out of here. Ugh. The crabgrass has some good roots. Trash. Ooh, this guy's got a healthy little ball. So we're just going to get in here and sort of try to expose the roots. But we've got some really good roots. I can feel them in there. Oh wow. And the thing too, guys, is you want to be really careful with this plant, because if you do accidentally break off a branch, it's got some sap that can actually do some serious damage. It can give you burns on your skin. So we're going to be careful of that. Just continuing to work some of this soil off of the roots. It does have a strange root right up front here that kind of is going in a loop, so we may end up doing some work with that. We'll see what it looks like. So it's actually got quite a nice root base. It's pretty radial. They're all headed out in a general direction away from the trunk. I think we will just pull this guy out, I guess. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was that root that was twisted that I was concerned about. Changed my mind. We're taking that off. See how it jumps up like that? I don't really want that. We're just gonna make that work. That guy off to the side for now. Here's my soil. It's got a bunch of pebbles in it. Basically some really worn out soil, which is what we want. Some well draining worn out soil. And that's what we got, but we are going to add some perlite to it. This is just sort of like little stones basically, that are porous, so they drain quite well. And I don't have much left in this bag, so I think I'll just add the rest of it. Dusty. I'm just going to give that a good mix. Okay, so we've got our soil mixed up. As you can see, it's got a lot of perlite, but that's what we want. We want it to drain really nicely. So I'm just going to take some of this and put it back in the original pot. Alright. We'll stick that in there. I think that'll work. No. Yeah, that'll have to work for now. We'll see what it does. Maybe we'll revisit this one later. So we're not going to bury it as deep as we talked about. We are going to bury it pretty far. About 4 to 5 inches of the trunk is now going to be considered part of the root base. Yeah, I think I like that. It'll be nice and sturdy once it gets rooted in there. And but for now, we'll put these rocks around it just to kind of keep it tight in there. We don't want it wiggling around too much or filling with water if we get a good rain. We just kind of want it to be secured, which I think we are, and we'll move on to the next project. So guys, the next thing I want to show you is how to propagate cactus, meaning how to make new cactus out of the little suckers that are growing off of your main cactus. For this, really you need a pair of scissors, but these ones propagate so easily, I'm just going to break them off with my root rake. Ideally you want to be sterile, meaning that your tools need to be wiped down with alcohol and dried before you begin. Again, we're not doing that because these guys are so easy and I've got so many of them. But if you only have one chance to do it for some reason, you really want to follow all those steps and make sure that it's done right. So we're actually it's an interesting cactus. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but it's got purple on this side and then green on this side. It's fascinating. I've never seen anything like this. That's why I had to have it. Anyway, we're going to take this largest cutting down here and just pop it off with our fork as close to the base as we can. Again, these will propagate no matter what, but you want to get right where they meet, and you want to keep that as intact as possible, because that's typically on any cuttings, that's where your stem cells are going to be. Any other time I'm doing this, I'm taking the cutting, I'm going to set it in a container and leave it on my windowsill for 3 to 5 days until the cut is dry, has calloused over, and then I'm just going to set it on some dry soil and mist it every couple of days. But as I said, these guys are so easy to do that I'm just popping them off and setting them on here, and so far they've all grown. I've got a few that have just started off that way, and they've been out in the rain. It's not affecting them. So that's how you do that. Super easy. We'll get into different types and take cuttings of different things. Matter of fact, I'll show you how to cut a willow tree and make it grow. Alright guys, we've got a great big weeping willow in our grandma's backyard, and we have to have one in our yard. But we're not paying big box store prices, and we can't afford to have it delivered from a nursery. We're going to take our own clippings. So this is a weeping willow. I don't know the scientific name. If you care to look that up, leave it in the comments. Anyway, these guys don't look so good. They dried out a couple days ago. This one looks okay. But the other one's not so much. This one might not make it, in fact. This guy will pull through. It'll be fine. Anyway, let's pretend this is grandmother's great big giant beautiful weeping willow tree. We are going to find a healthy looking branch. This one to me is the healthiest. We are going to take our clean, sanitized pruners and we are going to come in and cut it at a split. So let's say we're taking this branch. Let's say we're taking this branch right here. We're going to come in here and cut it at the base. We're going to take that branch and we're going to remove the bottom leaves. And then we're going to fill a cup with water up to about here once you remove the leaves to here. But you could keep going and fill it up further. Totally up to you. It's not really going to matter. These guys are super easy to propagate. These are cuttings I took about 2 weeks ago. As you can see, these are really large cuttings. This one's about as fat as my thumb almost. And look at that. In 2 weeks they've got branches that are, I don't know, 3, almost 4 inches long. And look at the roots coming out of there. It's crazy. So all I did with these was snip off about midway in the branch and then trimmed them down a little bit and stuck them in water, left them in the bright sun outside in this little pail of water here, and they have taken off. I've got so many roots. And now I've got more weeping willow trees than I know what to do with. I do like weeping willow trees. So that's how you do that. It's super easy. Literally take the cutting, stick it in water, watch the root grow. You want to do this in early spring or early summer, anytime in there, because if you do it too late in the year they won't have time to root and the winter will just wipe them out. So keep that in mind and you'll be fine. You'll have so many of Grandma's weeping willow trees in your backyard. So guys, I just want to give you an update on the ficus. It lost about half of its leaves. I moved it into the shade and I'm keeping it watered, and these little new leaves look really healthy. So I think we're going to be fine with that. I think it's going to recover really nicely. The other update is on my euphorbia. It's doing really nicely. It actually has a new sprout since we took that last video. So I think it's just going to keep chugging right along this summer and continue to grow happy and healthy.